So I was doodling along, tooling along, so to speak, some old terminology. Another sheriff, another piggy, and I happen up on this traffic stop here. Now, I am considerable distance away. Like, this is how far I am away. Like, logically, this is how I am away, and that's how good the zoom is on this iPhone. But it's kind of hard to see what's going on because the lights dominate everything. But, this is kind of a unauspicious place to be videotaping here or digitally recording, because I guess I could go up a little bit, but then I gotta walk and fucking get out. And so I'm probably assuming maybe that other sheriff is for me. Maybe not. Maybe I'm not that special this evening. And hopefully I am comfortable at around 75 degrees in here. I got everything I need: snacks, non-alcoholic beverages, and I am quite comfortable. And there's no place for me to really park either. What the fuck is this guy doing? Slow rolling it. But yes, I am from the comfort of my vehicle. Like, I don't understand the mental retardation of that fucking vehicle. Just get into the other lane and proceed at a normal, safe speed. Like, you don't have to cause a traffic accident. Like, oh. So we'll see if St. Joseph County is going to respect my right to record, unlike the clusterfuck I experienced with LaPorte County and the state police. Why are people stopping? Like, a state law says if there is, a 4-lane highway such as this, you get over into the other lane and you proceed at a safe speed, at or below the speed limit. Like, I don't understand, why people have to, like, stop, basically. Like, I don't understand the logic of that. But now, anytime I see a traffic stop, I'm pretty much programmed to actually stop and record, because that's what I would want somebody to do, because you don't always have your own camera with you. Now, even though I'm some distance away, if anything, starts to pop off, I can at least get a little closer and, document it a little closer at that point. But and this whole, nonsense that auditors say, oh, well, the United States Supreme Court said 10 feet. 10 feet recording. It's all it's case law. It's not. Merb, sometimes he has some intelligent things to say. Usually it's unintelligible. But I watched one of his videos about 10 days, 2 weeks ago, and he referenced that case. And basically, that's how far the individual was in that case. In the United States Supreme Court, didn't say, well, this is the gold standard of how far, that you can actually stand or stay back and record. Now, 10 feet is in, the case summary and stuff, but that's not like, that's not a rule of law. That's basically, if you read the entire case, which I have not, I'm trusting Merb to not, lead me astray here. But if you, so is that the pig there? Sorry about that. I don't know if that's the pig or the occupant. I think that may be the pig. And if my eyes are correct, it looks like he has his hand on his right hip. There. Anyway, so there is no set, a distance that you need to be back while recording, just at a safe distance, So what that is, that's still open to interpretation, because every scene, every situation is a little different. Yeah, so I'm probably like, I'm at least a good 50 yards away, if not more. And so if they say this is interfering, then I don't know how far I need to be back. Like maybe Mars, maybe the moon? Like, I don't understand. And I don't understand how the fucking state policeman yesterday actually said I was recording, and when there was a major highway separating me from them. Now, at least nobody has shined a light in my camera yet. So there's a South Bend PD going westbound, probably going home. And so I'm going to put in my lawsuit I'm going to file on Captain Heinrich and the state policeman and basically the other two LaPorte County sheriffs. And basically they created an environment afterwards where they were circling, they sat at basically all four corners of the intersection. Okay, they're done. And basically they detained me as I was in fear for getting pulled over. And those fears were realized when I got pulled over by the same fucking douchebag fucking captain who was having an issue upon me recording at the original fucking scene, shining his flashlight, and they just did a U-ey. Always be U-ing it with those people. Can I go here? Where does this even go? Is this a little road? I'll take you guys on a little journey because I remember years ago this used to go to houses and shit. I see. It's just... I see. So there's like a house, and then this actually would go to the airport, but it's all blocked off. Because, well, it's not the airport, actually. It's just... We can't go any further! We can't do it. So I'm going to turn myself around here. Yeah, but, I was very... Oh, wait, what's up there? I can actually go forward. What be up there? This is interesting. What's up here? Is this like a private driveway? I don't even know what this is. I guess we'll figure it out. Or how far does it go back here? This is interesting. It looks like this goes for miles and miles and miles. I didn't see any signs that said a private property or no trespassing. Always read your signage, but I didn't see any. So I would say this is probably just an access road, maybe a private driveway. I don't even know. It appears the lawn is getting manicured. Yeah. This is a private driveway. Wow, that's a nice house-ish. So we will we'll retreat because they need to put that it's a private driveway because who would know? But once you guys start seeing a manicured grass, then you know you're getting into white people land. But that's a pretty secluded little, plot of land they have there. Basically, surrounded by a forest. Well, not forest, but woods. Here in Indiana, it's not really a forest per se, but more a wooded area. Yeah, but I was kind of surprised upon the treatment that I received last night, depending upon what time zone you were in. I guess if you were on all three snowflake time zones, it would have been yesterday. If you were on real time, it would have been a few minutes into actually today. And I was just kind of, I was surprised that they were just overtly just, that they had a plan after they knew it was your daddy. They had a plan upon that they were going to sit around, they were going to fucking jerk around for hours if need be to fucking pull me over, you know, you illegally. And that's not the first time this has happened. This has happened other times when the state police are involved, and I have a federal lawsuit currently that I've got to respond actually this week by the 10th, and basically one of the defendants is going to be ILEA, that's Indiana Law Enforcement Academy, and you'll hear auditors and people say, "Whoa, I'm ILEA certified." Are you? 3 to 6 months, fucking, I think it's 6 months, fucking police academy down, I think in Plainfield, Indiana. I think they have, actually two training facilities, but I think the main one is down in Plainfield. I think they got a bunch of cheap land down there, to be honest. And basically, they go to the police academy, okay? And so my contention is that if the officer, in my case, were properly trained by ILEA, then the event, that happened upon me bringing civil litigation wouldn't have occurred. So the state of Indiana seems to think that they are basically immune from 1983 lawsuits. I believe the 11th Amendment, I think it's 11th Amendment, I kind of lend some credence to that. But then if I can't sue you, then how do I get a legal remedy? See, so you have to get a legal remedy, but then they can say, well, you should have done this, and that, and the other. So they're saying that the entity, as in ILEA, cannot be sued. I don't necessarily know that they're right, because, if you read a lot of responses, you'll hone in on keywords that lawyers use, because a lawyer, they're bound, under the penalties of perjury. So they can't mislead you too much. They can't flat out lie to you, okay? And so the operative word that I saw, like in big font, it wasn't in big font, but my mind perceived it into big font, was directly involved. That ILEA claims that they were not directly involved. So obviously, then there is case law to the effect that a state entity can be sued under USC 42 1983 if they're directly involved, because why else would the lawyer use such a specific terminology? Okay. Now, of course, they're not going to cite the case law, because they don't need to cite the case law. They cited some other things. Okay, so they don't need to help me upon to do my job. That'd be nice. Sometimes it happens like that, where these lawyers, they cite certain things. I'm like, oh, okay, well then. So like in case law, usually one case is tied to another. And usually that you'll find another case is directly associated to the case you're using against you to counteract that case, to make them, moot, null, and void. And so basically the state of Indiana is like, well, we're not culpable. We didn't do anything. We don't know anything about it. Blah, 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 blah. So even if the corrupt fucking magistrate of Mr. Gossage or Joan E. DeLugio find that that the state of Indiana, as in ILEA, is not culpable, then the state of Indiana is going a step further where they're saying, well, I can't sue individuals of ILEA in their individual, actual capacity. And that is incorrect. That is just, straight up fucking bullshit. Okay? So, I'm going to have to fucking get on the Google and fucking fat around and fraud around and fucking figure it out and do all this. Something else, a little food for thought. It just something that I've been thinking about, and I find it amazing that there are major police departments like Portage, Indiana. I believe that's a city that has like 60, 70,000 people. It's not a small city. It's a pretty good medium-sized, city, and they do not have dash cams. They do not have body cameras. And, I found that quite amazing because this fucking pig from Portage, he stopped me about 2 to 4 weeks ago. And basically I was driving a different car, had my phone on, they'd be pinging my phone. And he didn't know who it was. He thought it was me. It was me. And basically made some cockamamie fucking excuse of, oh, well, I didn't use a turn signal. It's finding like this is a common theme because I have a car that's kind of a little sporty. And I've been pulled over more times in this fucking car than I have in any other car that I've driven combined. I've had, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 cars over the course of my lifetime. Something about this car that it's like, it's like if you get a red Ferrari and, you cannot be speeding, you can just be tooling along at the speed limit and somehow you're going 2 miles an hour over. Or you didn't use your turn signal just because you're driving a red Ferrari. Now, I'm not driving a red Ferrari, but my point of it is, though, that certain cars attract attention, and I didn't think this specific car was an attention getter, or it's just me in the car that's the attention getter. Maybe that is it. The other thing I want to talk about here real briefly is I don't know if any of you have been involved in a civil litigation, meaning you're suing somebody. The word lawsuit makes me feel warm and fuzzy deep down to my inner giblets and my outer giblets, but mostly my inner giblets. It makes me feel all nice and cozy, like I'm back in my mother's womb. And so, and this is kind of something that you guys need to do research on the legal staff that represents your city or town or your government that you reside in. But a lot of municipalities, they will, so sometimes they have legal staff who are direct on the payroll. Sometimes it's handled by the insurance carrier. But a lot of lawyers, they have no vested interest in settling quickly. Again, they have no vested interest in settling anything quickly because in most situations, they're paid by the hour. But you will see, though, in cases where there's legal staff that's like, on the city or town's payroll and they're just getting paid, just a salary, they're more apt to settle quickly because they're not getting paid by the hour because they have no, at that point, they have no incentive to drag it out. They want to fucking start, talking about settling or trial. They want to minimize their work because they're not getting paid for every single thing they do. You understand what I'm saying? So that is something that us citizens need to actually take to the attention of our elected officials and our town councils and city councils and mayors and aldermen if you're in Chicago and etc. That we need to be on top of this because for example, I have a federal lawsuit against St. Joseph County that has been in federal fucking court for a year and 4 months ish, and it's a pretty open and shut case as far as I'm concerned. I've been kind of lazy in it because I'm doing other things. I need to get hunkered down and just end it as far as a summary judgment and some other things I want to do. Maybe not. Maybe I just want to drag it out. Never know with me. I'd be changing. And so basically I was arrested at the St. Joseph County City Building. The allegations were that I was taking phones into the traffic and misdemeanor clerk's area. And me being honest, I was too honest to the cops, okay? And basically, I went down the little stairwell, got, 10, 15, 20, 30 feet, I guess at that point it's all relative, out of the, actual doorway of the little tunnel, and I was promptly arrested by Wayne Forsman of the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Department, who still has a fucking job, by the way. And Mr. Forsman informed me while he was handcuffing me and taking me away that he was told to arrest me. So during that process, I hear a voice illuminating, well, not illuminating, but radiating, not even radiating, more of, I guess I just heard, off of Mr. Forsman's radio that I identified as Todd Shepard said, and I quote, something, well, not quote, but something to the effect of, good we got Kyle Stone, okay? And so pretty much this is an open and shut case because their primary charge they charged me with was resisting, okay? In some states, you can be charged upon a primary charge of resisting, not in the state of Indiana. You cannot be charged primarily with resisting unless, I'll give you, an example, if there's probable cause or reasonable suspicion to suspect that you have, that you're doing something wrong, then you can be charged with, actual resisting. More of it'll probably be, resisting a law enforcement on foot, or if you flee in a car, it's automatic felony. Okay, so say you're going down the road, a cop has a legitimate reason to pull you over. You're like, fuck you, I'm not pulling over. And you basically run, and eventually, they catch up with you, and they're going to charge you, with, fleeing. They could charge you upon other things, depending upon how reckless you were driving and shit. And that can be a primary charge in that situation. But there's got to be, PC to actually charge you with that, okay? In this situation, there was no PC to lawfully effectuate the arrest, okay? Now, from the day that I filed the lawsuit in January 2018, it's always been a question of how much money I am owed for my damages, okay? How much is a reasonable number that both parties can live with, and the judge. So if the pig is doing a legitimate, duties during his, duties, I guess, duty, and then he's protected. But if you break the law, you violate somebody's constitutional rights during the course of your duties, then it's not okay. Then the qualified immunity is moot. So, it just further rings home just the overt fucking corruption in the Northern District of Indiana because of the lawyer, well, one of the two fucking douches who are representing St. Joseph County, and Mr. Shepard and Mr. Forsman, is Peter Agostino. Google Agostino, Keller, and Anderson, and you will find a law firm in South Bend, Indiana. Okay. Also, Google. You'll probably have to do this separately, but you have to Google Agostino. Google Peter Agostino $1 judgment, and then do that the same for Keller and Anderson, and you may even have to do a fourth variation of their actual law firm because they have actual other lawyers that work for them that are not the fucking principal fucking partners. Okay. So why I bring this up is, to my research, Peter Agostino has one of the most, and I mean the most, $1 fucking judgments out of any fucking civil litigation lawyer that I can fucking find. And we're not talking, we're not talking that the lawyers he's going up against are fucking incompetent. No, they are decent lawyers, okay? And somehow he's getting all these $1 fucking judgments, and my summation is that Robert Miller and Judge John E. DeLugio, who hates my guts, by the way, and I fucking hate his little short fucking fat fucking old ass, are basically governmental agents, as with the CIA, as is Mr. Agostino, who are basically, that somebody needs to overtly prove this so these motherfuckers can, actually go to prison, because, the judges are breaking their oath, and Mr. Agostino, who's an officer of the court, is breaking his oath, and I believe there's a big fucking giant conspiracy going on. So basically, during my filing of that case, I made a boo-boo. I know, sometimes I make boo-boos, but, every time I file a lawsuit, or every time that I see a response, or do a response, or file a motion, I'm constantly learning, okay? Because, basically, I'm not a trained lawyer, and I'm doing this out of necessity, okay? Basically, that the means justifies some ends, okay? And so basically, there's some things that I'm just constantly learning on. And one of those things that I picked up on is, it seems very apparent to me that that there's a reason why lawyers go to law school, okay? So where I made the boo-boo, oh, there's more bacon. Bacon! We may have to go inquire about that. Is I did not put my jury demand in, okay? So this is legal information, not legal advice. If you're in a lawsuit, or if you're filing a lawsuit, please consult a licensed bar member of your jurisdiction. Do not rely on anything I tell you, because I could be lying to you, or I could just be flat fucking wrong. And I don't want you guys to do something and then you say, "Swine, you were wrong!" Is you have 10 days to put in your jury demand. All right. And I don't want to go all the way here, because then I got to do that. I got other things to do. We'll just not do that. And so, yeah, so I didn't put my jury demand in time. So basically, I lost my right to a jury trial. Okay, so I'm going to have to try this in front of the judge. Again, governmental agent Robert Miller. And so that is basically that the defense is basically banking on the corruption of Mr. Miller and Mr. Gossett in the Northern District upon, well, we know that we don't have a chance on actually legitimately beating you, but we're going to just basically just do overt fucking corruption and we'll get what we want. I am not going to allow that to happen because there's some things I need to do. A recusal or two, some other things, maybe some quashing, maybe, and maybe a writ of mandamus. Maybe. And I do mean maybe. Anyway, I'm going to get off here. You guys have a lovely, and I do mean lovely evening. I hope you guys had a great day. I hope that some mothers were sexually penetrated today. That's always a great day. I hope some of you got some blowjobs. Always an excellent day, because anytime a man gets a blowjob, he automatically won something. He automatically won something, whether it's a blowjob itself, or if it's the STDs that may come along with it, or a divorce, or whatever. You know, he's won something. So I'll leave you on that.